Hi, this is Trinesha Cottrell, and today is day 13 of 30 Days of Purpose. Education is key. You hear all the cliche terms and everything else, but listen, it is biblical and everything. You know that the people perish because of a lack of knowledge. So without knowledge, you're not going to be able to be where God is trying to take you to go. You have to make sure that you know exactly what it is that you need to be doing, and you do that by getting discernment from God. And discernment is education. Everything that you're learning from God is educational. He is teaching you something. He is like one of the best teachers I've ever had in my entire life. Because when I'm lost, when I don't know what to do, when everything seems like it's going wrong, when I got all these things going on in my life, when God steps in, he makes everything make sense. It could be, you know, I always go to relationships, but I feel like it's the best example in the entire world. I could have a plan for my life and say, "Oh God, I'm hoping that the first guy I meet, I end up going on a date with, and I can end up being this will be my kingdom spouse. I don't have to go through nothing else." I'll say things like that, and then I realize that God has me on this journey for a reason. I realized that the reason why God doesn't give me the very first person that I meet as my kingdom spouse is because he's trying to teach me something. God can't teach me anything if I'm not willing to learn. I have to really be willing to say, "Okay, God, what is it that you want to show me in this moment?" And be willing to listen, really willing to hear what it is that God wants to say. And that doesn't come from me saying, "Oh, I'm gonna do whatever I want." That doesn't come from me not being disciplined. That doesn't come from me just having an easy road. It comes from real work. I really have to intentionally be willing to say, "Okay, what is it that I did wrong? Or what is it that I can take accountability for? What is it that God is trying to show me in this season?" And I have to be willing to take those things into consideration to really understand or really look at the big picture of things. TG always calls it looking at the game film. And it really is like a playback of the decisions that you've made, a playback of things that you could have done better. And this is one of the things that truly helped me heal from my past relationship. I earlier today I had a moment where I was thinking about where I was like 2.5 years ago or so. And I really was in a position where I felt like I will never get over this man. I really felt like, oh my gosh, we've been together so long. It's been like 15 years or so. And I don't know how I'm going to heal from this. I thought I was always going to be hurting. I thought I was always going to be broken. I thought I was never going to feel right again. Like I thought I really had no idea how I was going to get through anything. And when I had called out to God, He really stepped in and He helped me where I was. He came where I was. I cried out to Him in my lowest moment. And I said, "God, I need you. I need you to help me." And He did everything. He showed me how to heal. He put people in my life who were there for me. My whole family and friends rallied around me and was there for me like you could have never imagined. Like, you know how in a movie when like the person that you're rooting for, something bad happens to them and then people step in and help? That's how my life was in that moment, for real. And it was all God. It was really all God. And I I really took the time to really learn what it was that I did wrong in the past. I didn't go and point the finger and say, "This person did this." I really just wanted to take accountability for my actions. I really wanted to acknowledge the fact that I'm not perfect. I really wanted to learn, okay, what could I have said in this moment? What could I have done in this moment? And regardless of what I did, it wasn't God anyway, so we weren't even supposed to be together. Let me just say that so that you know. But also, just because it wasn't God doesn't mean I can't learn something from it. Because now that I am focused on God, now that I am walking in the steps that God sets forth for me, or on the path that God sets forth for me, then I'm trying to be a better person. I'm trying to learn more. I'm trying to do more. I'm trying to be better. And so what I did was I went through a list of things. Okay, I said this at this time. Maybe I need to be a little more cognizant of how I'm speaking to people. Maybe I need to learn new communication skills. I could have easily said, "Oh no, it's this person's fault. They did this wrong. They did that wrong. They didn't do this at this time. They didn't do this and this that at that time." But I feel like that's my car. Nope, it's not my car. It's someone else's. We're fine. But it's going to be like a little noisy in the background. Hopefully, you don't mind, and I'm sorry for all the noise. Okay, the person realizes their car, so we're good. But yeah, so I really went through and I had to check myself. And it wasn't easy because you know how hard it is to really look yourself in the mirror and say, okay, I did these things wrong. How hard it is to not play the blame game and point your finger at anybody else, to really, really heal. Like, it was hard. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done because I had to really, really feel every emotion. I didn't just go jump into another relationship, although a lot of people do that and it works for them temporarily. It really doesn't work. It's like a fool's gold kind of thing. You think it's working because you have someone to fill that place, that position where the other person was. You're not being alone, so all of a sudden it just feels so comfy in this position, but you're really not healing. You're not allowing yourself the space or the opportunity to meet the right guy, because you're any guy that's going to jump in when you're not ready, any guy who's going to be a part of your life who is going, and I don't mean not ready like, sometimes God will send people in your life to help you. And on one of the videos I watched previously on AO's show, I think the guy said something like, God will send someone in your life who didn't hurt you to heal you or something. And I do believe that's true. But I also believe in, as well, healing. I think healing is so important in every stage of your life. I could have easily just been in another relationship and just try to put salt. I was going to say salt in the wound, but cover up the wound and pretend like it was never there and never allow it to heal. Just keep picking at it. I could have just done that the entire time and just keep on, just being in another relationship just so I didn't have to face myself. I could have just constantly been in areas where I was with other people instead of sitting in silence alone. I really spent time really focusing in on how I could heal, how I could be another person, how I could seek God's face and God could guide me where I needed to go. It was not easy. It was really hard for me to really understand that I needed to do more in my life. It was really hard for me to really know that I wasn't perfect, and nobody's perfect. But it really took real work. I had to really be willing to learn every single thing over. I had to learn that relationships aren't supposed to be this way. I had to learn that you really can be happy in your life. I had to learn that you don't have to be miserable to be in a relationship, that there are people who are actually going to treat you good. I had to learn that I didn't need to settle for anything less than God's best. I had to learn that I'm not always going to do the right thing. Like, I'm not always going to do the thing that I should do, even if I'm trying to be a good person. And when I do the wrong thing, I need to be willing to take responsibility for my actions. If I do something and I unintentionally hurt someone's feelings, regardless if I think I'm right or wrong, if the other person is hurt, I have to be willing to say, I'm sorry, and sincerely mean it. I have to really be willing to say, okay, I did this, this, and this, and I'm not always right. I had to really be willing to say, I'm going to respect someone else, or treat someone the way that God would intend for me to treat them, even if they don't deserve it. Not saying be a doormat, and be who God intended for me to be. All of that took work. All of that took real effort. I couldn't just sit around and just not do anything. I had to really put foot to pavement. I had to really be flat footed in faith in order to sustain this healing process. It was definitely not easy at all. I spent many nights crying and calling out to God and just saying, okay, God, what do I need to do? Okay, God, what is it that you want me to do in this moment? And God guided me. He allowed me to see, okay, this is an area where you were broken. You had all these walls up. I didn't even know I had walls up until I was willing to learn how to heal properly, until I was willing to see that I had a problem with that. And working with a therapist, working on myself allowed me to be able to see how I could be more comfortable letting other people in, the right people in. And it really has helped me so much. I had like a trial run the other day, and I was talking to this person, and they said something to me and they asked me a question that was personal. And at first, like I had a moment in my head where I wanted to just say, "Oh no, I don't feel comfortable talking about it," or "I'm not going to say this." But then I was like, this person is genuinely trying to learn something about me. Let me be open enough and honest enough to tell them what's really going on in my life. And I told them, I said, this is what happened. This is the reason why I was thinking this. And they were accepting. They didn't like judge me. They didn't like they didn't try to stone me or anything. They really just heard me out. And in my head, like when I imagined me like being a little vulnerable or saying something of how I was feeling or whatever else, I thought I would just immediately put up this wall, like I would just put up a wall and not allow the person in, and I would pull away or whatever else. But in this moment, I knew that I wasn't just leaving my heart open to attack. I was answering a question and I was allowing a person to really learn something about me. And it wasn't just something that everybody knew. It wasn't just something that, I just knew I could like protect it and just like push them away. I I did say one thing, but I hope they didn't take it the wrong way. Like I said something like, you know, I was in I said something about it was a long time and I liked being single or something. But I didn't mean I like being single like I don't want to be in a relationship. I just meant that I enjoy being single right now while I'm single. Not that that's where I want to live. But anyways, yeah. So, but I'm still working on it. It's still a work in progress. But I'm taking everything that I'm going through, every encounter in my life, and I'm learning from it. I'm really acknowledging the fact that I'm not perfect and that I'm going to make mistakes. I'm really being more comfortable in my own skin and knowing that regardless of what I say, if it's God, it's going to work out. If the communication is there, I will be able to have a real conversation. If someone is bothered by something that I say, if I offend someone in the wrong way because I don't realize that, it made them feel that way, then I will apologize or, I will rectify the situation. I'm not just going to be on a high horse looking down my nose at someone as if I don't make mistakes, because I do. So, learning from God, learning from life has allowed me to be able to be a better person. That's why I feel like knowledge is important. So, I definitely enjoy these lives. I enjoy telling my story and being able to serve the people. I really do. And I hope that the people that watch these videos feel like they're not being judged. They feel like they they're in it with someone else. Like God's with them always, and they can also be here and not feel judgment because I made mistakes in the past. They can also be here and know that, when it comes to being in your purpose, you do have to learn stuff about yourself because you don't want to be the person that's stopping a blessing from getting to you. You don't want to be the type of person who is such a know-it-all that you can't learn anything more. There's always room for more. You always want to be willing to open up to hear someone else. Even if you don't agree with them, listen to what it is that they're saying. As long as they're not like really disrespecting and degrading you or in any way. But if they're saying something, and if they're saying something that's different, listen to them. You might learn something about yourself or something about them that you would have never known if you didn't give them the opportunity to be able to open up. So, If you watch this video after you watch the Facebook Live, comment both down below, because I think it's so cool when people go on one thing and then they come to another thing. I really appreciate you sticking in there with me, coming to view the lives, going, some people have been here every night, and it is so awesome. I would have never imagined that people would support, my purpose or see me. So I think it's so cool to just be able to be used as a vessel to help the people in any way that I can. And if there's a question that you have for me, if there's something that you want to see in the future, then definitely you can you can put a comment down below, or you can send me a message in the DM PM on Facebook, and I will definitely answer your question, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you so much. Again, for those of you that don't know, tomorrow there will not be a live on Facebook. I did say, for those of you that didn't make it, I might do like hop in for a second, just because I don't want the people who missed today on Facebook to not know that I'm not going to be there tomorrow. So I'm going to like do a post and maybe put something on there. That way they know I'm not there. And then the lives will continue from there on on YouTube, because I have the capability to be able to do videos here anywhere. Like, I can do it on my phone. I can do it if I go somewhere, if I'm somewhere else and I don't have my laptop. I want to be able to still serve the people. And so I will have to transition and put the videos here. And it will be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. So I hope to see you guys tomorrow. And I hope that you are living every day in purpose, and that my story was able to help you in some way. That you learned that even if you don't know all of the things that you need to know, you can always learn more. You can always educate yourself, because knowledge is so important. It's the only way that you'll be able to expand your horizon. It's the only way you'll be able to grow your business. It's the only way that you will be able to personally grow, to be ready for a relationship, to be ready for a job, whatever else it is. You see, there's trainings even on a job, because education really does help you expand your mind. It really does help you become a better person, a better employee, a better friend, a better partner. So take this time while you're in your purpose, and if you're like me in your single season, to really grow and learn more about yourself, to really understand what it is that you need to do to be a better person, what it is that you need to work on. Like mine was communication, and not putting a wall around the guarded heart and vicious animals protecting it as well. Like, I had to learn, like, listen, in order for somebody to get in, you got to actually let them through the door. Like, you can't just put a metal barrier around you and you already have a guard in front of your heart. You got to really take down the metal barrier and maybe put up a fence with a door so somebody can walk in if they have an opportunity, if they really, so that you can get to know people, because you don't know who will surprise you. Let me just put it that way. People will sometimes surprise you in the best way. So give people an opportunity to show you who they really are. And when they show you who they are, believe them, like my Angeli says. But good night, and I will see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. And again, comment down below. Thank you. Have a good night.